Good evening, Facebook. Hello, everyone. Um, I hope you're having a relaxing evening. I'm supposed to be on an event that I created earlier on my Facebook profile, but I think I've forgotten to invite everyone, so that no one's really accepted it. So it was just me going. But anyway, the event was supposed to be discussing about the immigration health surcharge increase in January. Those who have seen my posts earlier, you'll have seen that the increase will actually take effect on the 8th of January. And I just wanted to inform you guys what you have to do if your application is already ready. So don't wait for the 8th. Submit it now, because if you submit it on the 8th and afterwards, then most likely it will be £500, much more expensive than if you apply before the 8th of January. Okay, so very, very important. If obviously if you are not ready and you just want to save money on the immigration health surcharge, don't do it, because instead of actually paying, okay, you may save 500, but if it's refused, then you waste much more, £1,533, instead of just paying the difference between that amount, the amount 1,533 and 500. So if you are definitely ready to make the application, then by all means submit it. But if you have documents lacking, for example, you're still waiting for another payslip that may come in February, and you think, okay, you want to save money, don't do it, because if you do, it will I'm always gonna guarantee you that it will be refused. Okay, so for example, there's this guy who contacted me just actually an hour ago, wanting to make an appointment to see me about the spouse visa, and I advised him, if he can make it before then he should send the application before the 8th of January. But he said that he's waiting for one payslip because he's only been working for 5 months from his new employer. And if to sponsor a spouse to come to the UK, as you know, you need to comply with the financial requirement, which is to show that you are earning £18,600 before tax, and to show that you have to supply 6 months worth of pay slips and 6 months worth of bank statements. If you can't provide that to the Home Office, if you can only provide 5 pay slips, then it's almost 100% sure that the application will be refused. Okay, so don't submit the application because you want to save £500 on the immigration health surcharge, but only do that if you are absolutely sure that you have all the documents that's needed for the application. Otherwise, there'll be absolutely no point sending it. Okay, so that's that is what I wanted to discuss about, because some of you, there was a it was on the news, I think in October, that the immigration health surcharge would increase in December, but it was only so everybody, even lawyers, even lawyers didn't know when it was going to take effect. So also I wasn't quite sure, because I was looking online when it was actually going to take effect. And so I searched about the immigration health surcharge. There wasn't anything about it. Even the government website doesn't say anything about it. And it was only on the suprememovement.org. It's a blog. It's a website by a barrister, a well-known immigration barrister, who's calculated that it will take effect on the 8th of January, because the government order, it was something to do with the rules, that it was made on the I think 18th of December, and apparently, and I didn't know this, I was only reading it, apparently it was only 21 days from that date that the order will take effect. So they've calculated it that 21 days, 19th of December, that from that date, it will then be, it will take effect. And so on the 8th of January, it will definitely increase. Okay. So that's why there's not many, it's kind of quiet when it was going to take effect. And many clients have asked, how are we going to, has it increased? And so far as I have made applications, there's never been any increase, and it's still the same. So I thought that maybe the government has changed its mind, because there isn't really anything more said about the changes, the increase, but apparently it's going ahead. But I think it's going to be probably challenged, and because it's costing so much. It doesn't seem to be fair for those who obviously applying for leave to remain, to have to pay twice as much. It should be spread out. I think it should be spread out to other immigration applicants. I believe that. And I know at the moment, if you're applying for indefinite leave to remain, you won't have to pay Immigration Health Surcharge. So for those who want to apply for immigration health, to apply for indefinite leave to remain, you don't have to worry about that. But sorry, my sister is in the room. But if you're applying for limited leave to remain, extend your visa, then you have to pay, instead of paying 500, it'll be 1,000. So it's getting much more expensive to apply for to stay in the UK. But I think it doesn't seem fair that these people who are on temporary visa, because I call it temporary because it's not permanent, it's not indefinite visa, it doesn't seem to be fair to be paying so much money for the Immigration Health Surcharge, for their procedure to actually remain in the UK. I think it should be spread out. I think some, for example, business visa, if they're visit visa, I think they're also trying to probably impose. I think they've suggested that they should also pay the visitors. They should pay. I think they should contribute if they're staying, however they're staying in the UK. But also, I think it should also apply to, I mean, not many people will like this, but I think it should also apply across the board. Like for those who are applying for indefinite leave to remain, they should also contribute, so that it's not lumped on the type of, it's not lumped on the applicants for limited leave to remain. This is my opinion, and I hope that, I don't know whether they've considered that. I'm sure they've considered it, and they probably thought that the only people who really want to stay in the UK, who really have to pay much more than the people who have indefinite leave to remain, would have to be those people who are on temporary visas. So sorry guys, it's going to cost you so much more to stay in the UK, 500 much more, very expensive. Okay, so I can't see any questions here, but I have already, somebody already asked me, a couple of you have asked me whether it applies to people who are applying for indefinite leave to remain, and I've said no, it doesn't. It doesn't apply to you. You don't have to pay it. So only for those who are trying to extend their visas. And so the Immigration Health Surcharge works like this. So for every year that the government is giving you visa, it used to cost only £200, but now it's costing £400 per year. So if you are on domestic worker visa and you want to extend it, so instead of actually paying for £200, it will cost you £400 plus the immigration fees, which is currently at the moment £1,333. And for those who are on limited leave to remain, those who have already are in the UK on spouse visa, when you extend to have the to extend for another 2.5 years visa, it will cost you £1,000 instead of the current £500. And for those other on, let's say, tier 2 visas, again, it will be, you know, £200 each immigration health surcharge, and that will also apply to you. For those who can apply for indefinite leave to remain, for example, those who are domestic workers who have been in the UK for over 5 years and are able to, you know, and can take advantage of and are eligible to apply for indefinite leave to remain, provided that you have the Life in the UK test and the English language pass test. I think I would strongly recommend to, you know, arrange, take time off to go to an English language class, revise, study for your Life in the UK test, and get your indefinite leave to remain, because it will be much more expensive to renew your visa yearly. Plus, also, it's not guaranteed that at the moment it's £1,033 for the Home Office fees for limited leave to remain, but it doesn't mean that they won't increase it in April, because there's April, they always increase prices in April. I haven't seen, I'm not sure, I'll have a look and see whether they have suggested already for the amount of increase that will take place in April. Okay, I'll have to double check, but it goes up. Okay, it goes up every April, so much more expensive. Okay, guys. Okay, I'll wait for I'll wait for 5 minutes to see if there's any question about the immigration health surcharge. Otherwise, there isn't anything I wanted to discuss. But I've just found out that if I go on live and I don't have any work related topic, I don't seem to know what to say. I really don't know what to say. I'm not very good with small talk, so yes. So that's immigration health surcharge. Okay, right. So what brings a spouse that will apply, or do we need to pay house insurance? Yes. If you are applying, if you have a spouse visa and you are applying and you are eligible to apply for indefinite leave to remain, because you've already had 60 months worth of spouse visa, because they grant you 30 months at a time. Okay. And if you are eligible to apply for indefinite leave to remain, you have all the requirements. It's obviously, as you know, it's much more expensive to apply for indefinite leave to remain. The fees are much more expensive than the limited leave to remain. I think it's 2,300. I don't know in top of my head, but Mark, if you can apply for indefinite leave to remain on the basis of your marriage to a UK citizen or a person settled in the UK, then you don't pay the NHS surcharge. Okay, but I'm saying but if it turns out that even though you submitted this application and at the time of application you have not you didn't have to pay for the IHS, it's not NHS, it's IHS, Immigration Health Surcharge. If it turns out that your application, you missed a document and there was a reason that they couldn't grant you the indefinite leave to remain, they may grant you limited leave to remain, another 2.5 visas, and in which case you still have to pay for the immigration health surcharge. So it's very important, if you apply for a spouse visa, I know you think, oh, you know, I should be, you know, they should grant me the indefinite leave to remain, because I've had the 60 months worth of visa. I've done that. We complied with immigration. I've got the Life in the UK test. I've got the English language test. And you think that you can do it yourself. Please take note that I've had this client before where they came to me and what they didn't tell is that they said, you know, we're gonna apply for immigration. We're gonna apply for spouse visa. And there was some kind of, I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was some kind of past history in their immigration history that then the Home Office refused their application, so she didn't get the indefinite leave to remain, but they granted her limited leave to remain, another 2.5 years visa. Okay, and when they did, obviously they kept the Home Office fees, which was 2,100 at the time, and they asked the client to pay for the Immigration Health Surcharge. Okay, so even though you submit an indefinite leave to remain application, if you have not complied with all of the requirements, the Home Office will not actually reject the application. It will not reject it, but it will give you, instead of giving you indefinite leave to remain, it will give you another 2.5 years visa, and then ask for the Immigration Health Surcharge. So it's very important. It's, I can't stress it enough. Please do not please do not think that because you've complied everything, you save money on lawyers' fees. Okay, it's better you go to a lawyer, and when you have all the documents, go to a lawyer and say, please, can you just check? I want to make an appointment. Can you check my application is correct? I've got all the documents. Do it that way instead of doing yourself and waste so much money, because it's a lot of money. Okay, they won't return your £2,300 immigration fees that you paid. They won't return it. They will keep it, and then they will ask you for Immigration Health Surcharge fees on top of it. Okay, so make sure you know what you're doing with especially with the spouse visa application. Another thing, another one, another client who also did their immigration, who did their immigration themselves. Obviously they thought that they could apply. They listened to friends and family, and they did it themselves because they thought, well, it's a similar case with our case, with our friend's case, it's similar. But what they didn't realize is that there was some kind of gap in the immigration history that made the application fail. So the application did not succeed, so it was rejected. So 2,000, can you imagine? You lost 2,300. So it was so that application, it was actually very it was rejected. The Immigration Health Surcharge was rejected. Not Immigration Surcharge, the indefinite leave to remain application was rejected. They kept the fees, and then they asked, and then they had to reapply again. So how much money have they lost? £2,300 or something like that for, and then they have to pay on top of it 1,500 for just to extend the visa. Okay, so it's a lot of money. It's not something that you can you would have to, I don't know, work 2 months worth to pay for the immigration home fees. Yeah, okay, Mark. Yes, yeah, no problem. Yes, just let me know. Okay, guys. If you have any questions, just leave them on the comment, and I will get back to you. Okay. Have a lovely Saturday evening, and speak to you soon. Bye.